Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. Well, the vacations are gone. My Grail Pen Odyssey has been completed. I'm in the process of reviewing all those pens that I purchased, but we're back to our regular programming, as they say. So I'm reviewing pens, especially those that I just purchased during my vacation. But today I'm presenting you, and we're going back to the old format of my weekly recaps. So we're going to take a look at what have I missed during the summer months. Hey, what's out there? It's autumn. Things are, I think, perking up a little bit. We see different pens, different products, inks, paper. It's fountain pen therapy, folks. It's coming in like gangbusters. So you know what? Stay tuned for Fountain Pen Therapy Recap, September 1, 2024. Okay, so we're back, and first thing I'd like to look at is some pen trends. What's out there? How are our Chinese friends doing? Are we seeing new products? I think we do. Let's start with them, if you will. Okay. Here is the first one I wanted to discuss is this Jinhao 10. This is a brand new offering. Now it looks like a real copy of the Mahjong and obviously the Pilot Vanishing Point, but some interesting colors. It comes in fine and extra fine, so it's just not extra fine. I'm debating whether or not to get one of these pens, just because I find that I don't use these vanishing points, if you will. So, but maybe some of you would be interested. It's $43, which is a little high for Jinhao, but it's a pen, I guess, that has a complex mechanism, etc., etc. So you can explain the cost there. The next offering I'd like to show you is this new AdMock. It's an AdMock D56. Now, in the past, AdMock has kind of copied Pelican. We've seen the M400, the M800, and maybe even the Jinhao. Well, it's really the Duofold, but it really looks like a Jinhao Duofold. And now we have this one. It comes in various colors, more like a PBS lookalike, Pen BBS lookalike, but nonetheless. But it's $55.99 for a fine nib, and it comes. And of course, those fine nibs are Schmidt nibs, so all the better. So there you go. AdMock is going strong this year. Banju, you've seen I did Banju. I did a Banju review of one of the pens, and here we go with a different type of offering. The pen really looks like one of the Ongdians that we all familiar with. I'm tempted. I'm really tempted, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to actually take the jump. I guess we shall see, and we'll take it from there. Now, how do I shut this? Good question. Okay. Next, Okay, the next one is this Montagu. I've seen that make before. It's kind of a hollow series here. You got different colors. It looks like it's a very interesting offering. Again, I'm tempted. That nib, I'm not sure is a number 6 size nib, but you should take a look at that more closely. Maybe there's something there that interests you. Next, what have we got? Yeah, this Mahjong alloy, that titanium TI 136. It really tempts me. It's really the P136, but made of an aluminum. I'm not sure. I'm not a titanium guy for, titanium to have titanium. I really, they're slippery and the rest of it. So I'm not sure that it's something that I would really crave for, especially at the prices. But there you have it, if you were interested. What have we got, Al? What else we got here? Okay, so I think there are other Chinese offerings that I saw, frankly, that look somewhat interesting. A lot of brand new gold offerings, I noticed. Some, going up to 400, 300. Just take a look at this one. This one is supposed to be all handmade ebonite. They call it, hard rubber. Look at that. But, it's going for $262 with a number 8 size 14 karat Wing Sung nib. So, they're getting into gold nibs now. I have this one, which is $179. It's the Wing Sung 601 with a 14 karat gold nib and some sterling silver to beat. And that's going for $179 Canadian. Is this an offering that has some gold in it? No. I saw this at $131. There's this pen, which seems like a really weird sort of a shaped pen. But I'm not sure that I would really appreciate this pen, especially at $92 from some outfit that I've never heard of. But there you have it. I think you should take a look at AliExpress. Just search fountain pens and enjoy yourselves. Okay, what have I got in terms of Italian pens? Well, I thought I'd mention my Delta Magnifica Amalfi fountain pen. It's going to be the subject of a later chapter of this recap, and you'll see that in a few minutes. But I thought it was interesting that Delta's kind of revived this pen, and especially if you take a look at one of the most recent weekly recaps of Goulet and pens. Mr. Goulet loves this pen, and Drew hates it. Drew, I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know where you're going, but man, are you wrong about this pen. He thinks this pen is not nice. Maybe some of you don't. They think it's over the top. I don't think so. And we'll show it to you actually live in a few minutes. The only difference, of course, is that now the nib is instead of being an original, either a fusion nib or an original gold Delta nib, probably made by Bach at the time, it's now a Yowo. It's a Yowo nib, and it's going for $556, which I got to tell you is a good price, because the original of this pen was going for $1,000 plus. What else have I got? I've got this Delta DV original oversized, so it's the same Dolce Vita oversized shape, except it comes in this Riviera blue resin. Very nice. And, oh, yeah, see that feed? Let me just see if I can show you the feed. Yeah, it's called a colored feed. There you have it. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And those feeds are really nice, and I'll show them to you in a second, because Nino Marino did provide me with some. In fact, this leads me to Casa della Stelografica has got pens here. As you could see, they've got in the green, the purple, kind of a grayish matte, Delta gray. And all of these come in these colored colored feeds, which are really, really nice. And I thought I'd show them to you, okay? Let me just see if I can switch to my overhead camera. Yeah, here we go. Here are the feeds that Nino Marino gave me, because I asked for one just so that I could show you, and he says, why don't you take them all? So it doesn't have the nib, of course, these are just the feeds, but to give you an example of that purple, take a look at that feed. That is a very interesting, that is an ebonite feed. It's made in-house by Delta. Very nice. Take a look at that. I mean, the ink must flow really nicely. And this kind of reminds me of the old Omas. Bear with me a second. I'll pull out my Omas pen and you'll be able to see it. You see that? There you have it. It kind of mimics, of course this is big because this is like size number 8, and that is barely a number 5, but it's the same idea, kind of a slimish, real thin ebonite feed, very nice, and it comes in different colors. Of course you could see the colors that he gave me here. I'm going to try to see if I can fit one of these in some other nib, but I've got the green, I got the orange, I got the blue, got the black, and I got the purple. There you have it. So I thought I'd show you those. Very interesting. These are Delta, Nino Marino gifted, so to speak. Okay. So yeah, so that brings me, so I've got the 3 Delta offerings. Now, I find this one a little expensive. I got to say, the Casa del Stilografica. I saw those pens at the Delta. He showed them to me. They hadn't come out yet, so I wasn't able, I might have snuck them in one of the videos, but you know, he hadn't announced them yet, so I felt that I needed to be a little bit more weary about things. As far as non-Italian and non-Chinese, what have we got? Well, Gold Spot is announcing that the Mag 650 is back on sale. So that's the 650 that's supposed to have a different nib. It's back. I don't think I like this new version. I like the resin, but I preferred that original clip on the original 600, which is kind of more vintagey. But on the other hand, I really like this striped resin, which kind of reminds us of vintage, does it not? Next, what have we got? Yeah, Casa della Stilografica, and I think other sites as well. Finally got this Navlor Eclipse, which is a kind of a pocket and you know, a pen that you can in and out the nib. So that's, I think, an interesting pen. I may at $81 euros here. It's 81 euros, which is about $120. I may actually order this one instead of the badge on. So there you have it. What else have we got? Oh, I do want to mention that Labor Day is coming up, and a lot of the sites have got Labor Day sales. Take a look at Pen Chalet. They've got some pens that may interest you there. I find their sales are really, really nice sales. You know, they're not exaggerated where they, you know, announce that the regular price is 3 times and then they pretend to give you a discount. These are really discounted pens. So I really, you know, suggest Pen Chalet. You've got Atlas Stationery that's announcing the Abonici. For those of you who are interested in the Obonici products, especially the calendars, agendas, etc., journals, take a look at Atlas Stationaries. They're coming in, and these are wonderful, wonderful paper products, Tomio River. So there you have it. So that's really, what I've got for you in terms of trends in pens, etc. You know what we'll do next is we'll take a look at, you know, the next chapter of my recap, and in particular, we'll take a look at fountain pen therapy spotlight. Be right back. In the spotlight, first of all, pens. We'll take a look at pens that are in the pipeline, if you will, or pen haul that I've purchased pens in the most recent couple of weeks. Quite aside from a bunch of pens that I bought on my ultimate fountain pen vacation and my Grail Pen Odyssey, of course, which is an ongoing theme in my for the next couple of weeks. But apart from those pens, I'll show you first my pen haul in the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, and those are in the pup line. First, the pen haul. So let's switch to my camera. As you can see, there's the Ranga Ultem, which I think is a beautiful pen, by the way, and I've reviewed this pen. You can see my reviews. I will post it down below. And what I've done with this pen is that I've replaced, actually I ordered it without a nib, but with a Bach setting, if you will. And then I ordered a Bach compatible Fountain Pen Revolution nib, and we'll show you that in a second. I love these Asvine V200, so I ordered another one, this time red. I think I'm going to get a blue, red, and green, and black, so that I have those ready and able at all times. That too I replaced with this Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex nib, so that's always very nice. There you have that. You have, of course, my Banjo with the wooden barrel, which is a really nice pen. I've reviewed that as well. You can check that out on my YouTube channel, one of my more recent reviews. And just a recent addition is this Pilot Falcon. It's a soft fine, and I'm putting together a video on, I guess, flex or flexi nibs, flex and semi-flex nibs and pens. And of course I was missing this one. So those are the three pens that I purchased this week. And just to give us a taste of these pens, this the Ranga with the Fountain Pen Revolution, just an absolutely exquisite nib series it is. Just FPR nibs, really nice. I really recommend them. Very nice. So there you have that's the Ranga. Same nib in chrome. And this is the Asvine with that beautiful flex, ultra flex nib. So very nice. There you go. Very nice. I got to tell you, very pleased about that. Then let's see if this pen writes. I haven't written with it in a while. So this is the Banjo. Yeah, there you go. Juicy nib. I got to tell you, it's kind of a green wooden barrel. Very nice. I just love that cap. Isn't that nice? It kind of gives it some weight and it gives it some character. Very nice. And then there's my Falcon, Pilot Falcon. I will be reviewing this pen, so I will refrain from making any major comments other than to say that that nib will be a lot of fun writing with. And we'll kind of, Falcon nib. Well, actually, I got to be careful because there's the Falcon nib that goes in regular, or the Pilot 74 or 912, I forget. This is the Falcon, actually the Falcon, the pen itself. So there you have it. Little light, but we'll review that in greater detail sometime very soon. So those are the pens that I have in the pen haul. In terms of what have I got for you in the pipeline, let me show you. First thing is I finally ordered this Tramal. The reason why I ordered this time and I didn't previous is that this one is a vacuum filling. So I don't believe that the previous version of the Trammel was a vacuum fill. If it was, I missed it. I thought it was either a piston or just a kind of an eyedropper system, a little bit like Opus. But this appears to be a vacuum filling system in there. So I've ordered it. It's a little pricey at $79, but I figured that I might end up putting another one of my fountain pen revolution nibs in there. So there you have it. And you know, those fountain pen revolution nibs work better if they have that free flow of ink from a barrel as opposed to a converter. So I've ordered that. What else have I ordered? Let me show you. Yeah, I've ordered, remember, for those of you who watched my series on Florence, went into the Pineda store, everything was too expensive, was really looking to buy that 14 karat quill nib, and unfortunately walked out without nothing, and I found the prices elsewhere just too pricey, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting to find a reasonably priced pen, a Pineda pen with that quill nib. I finally found one, US $248, the Pineda La Grande Bellezza Gemstone. Here it is, tiger yellow, with that quill nib. So it's $334 Canadian. I've ordered it. I should be receiving that sometime very, very, very soon. Now, what else have I got for you? Well, in the same spotlight, I'd like to show you what pens did I use during the week. Well, here are the pens that I used during the week. In fact, some of them are here. They're all here except the Falcon and this one. I did use my Aurora Optima, which I've reviewed, by the way, and the review is finished and should be published, so stay tuned for that. I used my Aurora. I used as well my Wingsun 699. Those are the 4 pens. So once again, just so that we can make my journal complete, I use this Wingsun just an exquisite with a fine nib. 10 on 10, man. I just love these pens. I think I've got 3 or 4 of them, different colors. Very nice. They're always they're like the 823, I've got to tell you, except much much cheaper. And of course, my Optima O Sole Mio, you'll see that detailed review sometime during the week. Enjoyed just tremendously this pen. It's the Optima O Sole Mio. Wow, very, very nice. So I wrote with those pens all week. Of course, these 2 pens, which I've just shown you earlier, were also part of my, so only 4 pens this week, folks, only 4 pens. And there you have it. That's the pens in use this week. Okay, so for the pen haul, I'd like to show you, I received a couple of inks from my friend Matthew at the Wet Pen. He's recently he started a new venture apart from his beautiful, beautiful videos. Very informative, very well done, professionally done, I would say. He's manufacturing or putting together inks now. And I've already reviewed, I believe, 4 inks. And you can visit the Wet Pen Ink website. You can see all the inks there. And it's 4 more recent inks, I would say. I think there are 4, perhaps even more. But I've ordered 4, and I'm going to review 2 today and 2 next time. The 2 that I'm reviewing today is Blackberry and Diablo Lake. So we will take a look at these 2 inks. Again, I thank Matthew for doing this. He does a great job. He loves inks. His most recent video was, I think, part 4 or part 5 of his Japan trip. So he went to Japan and he looked for inks. Imagine. I'd love, that's on my bucket list, by the way, Japan. I spoke to my son who's into Japanese culture and etc. And he said that maybe one day, Dad, you and I will take a trip down there. Yeah, it's on my bucket list. Okay, so let's start with blackberry. Let me just shake that up a little bit. It should not be, I don't believe either one of these inks are shimmer inks. So we should be okay. Because I'm trying to stay away from shimmering inks to the extent that I can. So let's use my dip folded pen. Now the first paper is bank paper. And right away you can tell that this bank paper's got a coating on it. So it slips very nicely. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is Cosmo Air Light, and we'll identify all this in just a second or two. And number 3 is my favorite, Tomo River. .52 GSM. And the last one is Clairefontaine. That's the French ruled paper, but you know, it's still Clairefontaine, which is very similar, I would say to you, to Rhodia. So, okay, so those are, maybe we'll do, is I'd like to use this new glass pen that I purchased at Manufactus in Rome. Beautiful pen. What I liked about this glass dip pen is that the nib section is made out of long metal section as opposed to a glass section right after this knob, which oftentimes interrupted and I couldn't write with them. It's unfortunate this is an extra fine, and I would have wanted a thicker nib just to show the, so this is camera is kind of creating some shadows. The lights are as well. But what we'll do is we'll allow this these 4 swatches to dry up, and we'll be right back and to analyze how they fare. Okay? In the meantime, while that dries up, let's take out another 4 swatches, and we will swatch the second ink, which is Diablo Lake. Take my folded pen. This is that bank paper. That's a nice ink. This is Cosmo Air Light. This one is Tomoe River. And the last one is Clairefontaine. Okay, so let me just wash that out. Okay, just cover that up a little bit here. Here we go. So once again, give some time to get rid of all the light and all those shadows. Let that all dry up, and we'll come back and give you my comments. Okay, so we're back. We're going to show you how the samples worked out in a second. I did want to just a shout out to my friend Matthew at the Wet Pen. Hello, Vincenzo, my friend. Thanks once again for your support. Hope that you enjoyed the new inks. I've enclosed a sample of another blue ink with a temporary name. It's a standard true blue ink, but nice and vibrant, no sheen, and I'll be tuning it for good behavior. Take care and enjoy Italy. Matthew, yeah, I had received this before I left for my vacation. And there it is. It's called Throwback Blue, at least for now. So it's a small sample. I might just swatch it up next time with my 2 other inks. So thanks again, Matthew. Good luck on your new venture. In the meantime, let's take a look at the 2 inks that we've swatched for you today. The first one is Blackberry. So we're back. We could see that there is a kind of a different shading depending on the paper that we use. The most purplish of the 3 would be in Cosmo Air Light, I would say. The lightest would be in that bank paper, along with Clairefontaine, and then the kind of in between would be Tomoe River. I see very little sheen. I see some shading from dark to, but it's pretty standard. I think it would be a pretty uniform ink. So I'm not seeing any sheening or any major shading, if you will, from the ink. So there you have it. That's the Blackberry. The next one is this, and I mentioned Blackberry here, and that's a mistake. Sorry about that. That's foolish of me, isn't it? Put Blackberry on all these swatches when, in fact, we were dealing with a completely different ink. So let me apologize for that. It's Diablo Lake. Okay, so let me just correct that. There we go. Okay, sorry about that, folks. So yeah, so what again, I think it's a pretty standard and uniform ink. On these 4, I would say that this ink is kind of reacting very, very similar. A little bit darker on Tomoe River and Clairefontaine. The lightest appears to be on Cosmo Air Light. There is some sheening, kind of a dark brown there that we see on Cosmo Air Light, which always kind of performs the best when it comes to shading, in my view. But there you have it. It's a pretty straightforward, again, a nice straightforward ink. So not too much fanfare. The same thing would go for this one. And again, we could see some sheening dark brown on the Cosmo Air Light and a little bit on the bank paper as well, but we see none on the Blackberry. So there you have the 2 inks. And of course, we will be inking the pens for my flashback with at least 2 pens with those 2 inks. So we'll be right back. Okay, for my flashback, if you will, spotlight pens, you know, what have I what did I ink this week? Okay, that I pulled out of a hat, if you will, in the past, and here they are. They are, in fact, all Delta pens. I mean, you know, when I got back from vacation with that Delta interview with Nino Marino, I thought I'd go back in my collection. And last week I felt nostalgic. I felt the need to write with some Delta pens. So I went back into my collection and said, let me pull out five pens, and kind of pen resurrection will be my Delta week, if you will. And so this week is the Delta week. I pulled out my Magnifica just because I saw that on Goulet pens, and I thought I'd share my version of it and explain to Drew Brown why he should love that pen. So let's start with this. I mean, this is an absolutely gorgeous pen. I don't know what Drew Brown is talking about, and I'm really surprised because he is a fairly knowledgeable person, and not to be able to appreciate this pen, I think he didn't do enough research, but I'm glad that Brian Goulet put him in his place. There you have it. So this is the Amalfi Magnifica, or maybe the Magnifica Amalfi. Okay, it's an homage to Amalfi. Take a look at that nib. I mean, let me just close up here. This nib is an absolute joy to write with. As you can see, it's that Fusion broad, is that Fusion 18 karat Fusion nib that Delta invented, and it's just magnificent. I got to tell you, it just writes just beautifully. Let me just adjust my camera. I don't like. Yeah, there you go. I've got better grain now than before. The focus was just horrible, but you could see that how this pen is so wet. No feedback whatsoever. Oh, beautiful. So Drew Brown, eat your heart out. The next is, I have two Delta journals, different colors. And so this is, I mean, doesn't this look like Leonardo? I mean, Leonardo just copied Delta. That's what it did. Okay. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. This is it. This one's got a stub. Yeah, I don't think it's a gold. It's a stub steel. So this is the Delta. I've forgotten how to write with a stub. Isn't that curious? Delta journal. And it's in the stub steel nib. So there you have it. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, sure is, isn't it? So that's the journal with the stub steel nib. I have this gray version of the journal. Let me just see what nib we have on this one. Oh, yes, this has got the gold. I think it's broad. Yeah. This is the 14 karat. It's a 14 karat broad original Delta nib. So this one is the Delta journal, and it's the 14 karat gold nib, and it's a broad. So again, silence. Just smooth sailing. Just a beautiful, beautiful nib. It's just, I think it's a pity that all these pen companies have gone to Yowo. I really do. It's most unfortunate. This is a cheaper priced Delta Virtuosa. I haven't used this pen in a while. It's got kind of a stub number 5 nib. I remember it being very, very thick. Yeah, here we go. Really can get some fancy writing with these stubs. I've almost forgotten how to write with them because I'm now writing, my handwriting is now slanted as opposed to straight up. And it looks so different from when I started this beautiful adventure of ours. This is the pen that's called the Icon, excuse me. Icon, they actually have a recent version of the Icon now, it's out. But this is the original. Once again, in that Fusion 18 karat nib, it's a stub as well. So this is the Delta. Whoops. Oh, this is the what is it? The wet pens, not Blackberry. Keep forgetting. We just did the swatching, the Diablo Lake. So let me just take that over. Delta Icon 18 karat Fusion nib. And it's got the Diablo Lake wet pen ink. That wet pen ink is very light, a light green, and dries immediately. So it is a kind of a drier ink. But there you have, let me just get up there. There you have my pen resurrection for this week. They're all Deltas. They're all beautiful pens, and I will love them for next week. They will be in my case, and we will probably see them again next week. But these are the pens I'm going to be using next week. So there you have we've done the ink haul, we've done the pen haul, and now next we will do the paper haul. I've got something special for you. Okay, for the paper haul, what have we got? Well, take a look at this journal, folks. For those of you who did not see my episode on Rome and the various stores that we visited in Rome, this was purchased at a store by the name of Manufactus. Yeah, Manufactus. And I invite you to take a look at that. And this has become kind of a journal for me where I, put my personal thoughts, a lot of YouTube stuff, what I want to do, what I've done, what I'm happy with, etc., etc. Rather than kind of, journaling for me is kind of shifted to YouTube because that's what gives me therapy. I don't like the idea of me rehashing my day and all my problems and putting them in writing. I feel like I'm going over them. I want to forget them. I don't want to put them in writing. Some people, it's catharsis for them. For me, it's worse. I realize that it just doesn't give me anything. I'd rather escape. So this will be my go-to journal from now on. It's a beautiful journal in the sense that you could replace, it's an A5, and you can replace the notebook and keep this beautiful sleeve forever. Whereas some others that I saw in Florence and in Rome, it's kind of a bound. You're bound by it, and then you've got to chuck it away once it's done, which is a pity. Or, you can keep it on a shelf, and then you need to buy another one. But this way, I can keep on the shelf the notebook, replace it even with a Tomoe River paper, and keep this beautiful, beautiful sleeve. I added my initials added to it at Manufacturers. They did it on the spot. In a few minutes, it was done. And in terms of the paper, yes, it's not Tomoe River paper. It's not Clairefontaine paper. But if you see, it's very, very fountain pen friendly. I mean, it's thick, thick paper. And look, there's no ghosting. It doesn't go through at all. There's no feathering. It's got some beautiful lines. Well done, simple. It's got no numbers, no nothing. And as you could see, I could write with it and both sides very easily without any problem. In fact, why don't we just amuse ourselves, and we'll call this the fountain pen therapy recap, September 1, 2024. And this is a review of Manufactus notebook. It's a hardcover. It's refillable. Wooden hardcover. With embossing. Initials. So, as you can see, writes very nicely. It's fountain pen friendly. It's not as pretty as Tomoe River or some of the other more fountain pen friendly notebooks, but it is more than sufficient. I really love this notebook. I've decided that I may even use the paper next to here, just order it from Manufactus. And next time I'm in Rome, I think I'm going to buy perhaps more of this stuff. It's got also this little contraption that can kind of divvy things up for us. So there you have it. Let me just put this because I don't want to get spilled. Isn't that nice? I think it's very nice. In fact, I mean, we asked them to kind of emboss the ear. But there you have it. So that's the notebook haul. I hope you love this notebook. I think I really, really like this notebook. It's beautiful. It's with me all the time now. It's a little heavy, but it's something that Hemingway Jones, I think, would really, really like. I hope he takes a look at this. In fact, I might send him a link and say, Hemingway or Timothy, take a look at this. This may be something that would interest you. And maybe there's some in Venice. I think there's Manufactus stores are all over the place. And he may actually find some in Venice. And I know he's going to Venice and Florence in November, if I'm not mistaken. So that's it for the notebook haul, if you will. So look at YouTube. YouTube in various respects. What kind of videos do I have intrigued me over the last several days and weeks that I want to share with you? Well, there's two YouTubers in particular that I want to give a shout out to. The first, and let's take a look at, I will go to my overhead camera, is Pen Venture. I got to tell you that PenVenture in this video, it's called Top Secret, has come up with is announcing two pens from Gravitas, a pocket pen and just a regular sized but number 8 size nib made out of black carbon. I'll show you some pictures here at the same time. Take a look at this video. I think they're prototypes that he's showing us. It's coming sometime soon. I can hardly wait. It looks like there are 2 additional products from Gravitas that are really going to work well. So shout out to PenVenture, who's kind of taken over all part of the logistic aspects of Gravitas and has allowed the Gravitas owner to do what he does best, which is to design the pens and make the pens themselves, and PenVenture takes care of the rest. So excellent. The other one that I wanted to show you is Shaq, my buddy Shaq. He's got a Flex War between Mag 600 and some others. He reviews the P139 and calls it one of the surprisingly very good pens. So anybody who thinks that pen is not worthwhile, take a look at this Shaq video. You'll be convinced. He takes a look at the new Tiger Conid bulk filler, king size. Man, that pen is another one in my Grail pen sights. And this beautiful Cuscedo Calari review as well, where that nib is in the fold. So take a look at these 4 videos. I really recommend them. They do fabulous job, both of them, and I think they deserved an honorable mention on my part. As far as fountain pen therapy is concerned, well, you've got again my 3-part series on my vacation that I really want you to take a look at. It's got timestamps. Pick and choose the chapters that you think you'll be interested in. I've got, of course, the Visconti review. Put some time into that one. It's long, but there again, use my timestamps. You'll see that I try to do something a little bit different by comparing him to other pens, etc., and kind of look at my Grail pen, collection and kind of do a comparison. Stay tuned this week, probably midweek sometime or Thursday. I will be publishing my review of the Aurora Optima O Sole Mio, another interesting review, very similar to Visconti, where I will be looking to do a comparison. I'll take a look at some of my other Aurora pens. So we'll kind of, mix it up a little bit, and you'll be able to see something different. Now, I've been promising you a comprehensive look at nibs, all kinds of nibs and comparisons, and be it gold nibs, steel nibs. I'm working on that series. It's longer than I anticipated. And one of the reasons is that I want to have a chapter on flex nibs, but I needed to, purchase some. I bought one very nice flex nib on my vacation. For those of you who haven't seen my videos, it's a surprise. It will be reviewed sometime soon, and I consider it an absolute Grail pen. Then I've got my Falcon. I showed you my Falcon earlier, and I'm getting that quill nib from Peniter sometime soon. There may be 1 or 2 more that I want to add so that I could do a comprehensive look at some of the major flex or semi-flex nibs that are out there, so we can do a comparison and maybe even declare a winner. So that's part of that series as well. Ultimately, I got to put up to date my paper and notebook comprehensive guide. Probably do a part 3 where I will be adding, although I'm tempted to wait until the end of the year and add all the additional notebooks that I've purchased during the year that are not mentioned in part 1 and part 2, and we'll do it in part 3. If you guys have any suggestions for any future videos that you'd like to see over and above the recap, or maybe during the recap, and over and above just that template review of pens, which I will continue to do because I think they're important and I think it adds. So all of that to say, a lot of work. Back to regular programming, folks. Buongiorno, buonasera, wherever you are. Take care of yourselves. Please subscribe. If you like this kind of stuff, give me a thumbs up. And arrivederci. See you all soon.